What is happening, everybody? I hope you're all having a wonderful day, and welcome on back to Mass Effect. We cleared out Eden Prime last time. We got through the survivors, got some valuable information, and we saw what became of Nihilus. So now we gotta head to the spaceport and see if we can secure this beacon before the bad guys take it. Speaking of.
Set the charges. Destroy the entire colony. Leave no evidence that we were here.
That's giving you a big sign of Saren's personality too. Destroy the entire colony, all the farmers, all the civilians, blow it to the ground. He's trying to be very clandestine with all this too. Now we got a time limit, so stress enabled. We gotta get these bombs disarmed before they all blow to smithereens.
Hurry! We need to find them all and shut them down!
Indeed, I'm not trying to have my ass blown to bits. And I'm sure neither of you are either. Swing right to the other bombs. I happen to know where they all are, luckily, so we did just get ourselves fatigued, but that just stops us from sprinting. A lot of these you can be cheeky with and get them while we're in cover. They'll push up, but our squad mates can handle it for now. You see there, just smoking them in the back. We have a good setup. Take care of them. One more on the left here in a second, and then the rest are in the back, right over there. Get behind cover, because they are going to get a little aggressive while we disarm, so make sure you crouch your ass out of gun sight while you're in there. Alright, Chuckles. You hit that. You can hit it too. Spray them down while they're in the fish in a barrel corridor here. Those red beams are not to be fucked with. Let me just point that out right now. Snipers are your biggest threat in this game. They will one-shot you. You will have a bad day. Try and hit him with the overload. Aiden. Oh, I guess he did use it, it just didn't hit him. We need to bait his head out, but do not let him actually hit you, because you will die. It's not gonna let me peek his head. Yeah, see. They're very cheeky, and they kill you very quickly. If you see that, dip in cover. Do not get hit by the red beam of death. It will one-shot you on the highest difficulty. In all circumstances, don't get hit by that. They're not too bad to deal with once you get the shields down. They die quickly, but they kill you quickly. That's the way that they're balanced. This charge we gotta deal with. 3 minutes to spare. Now, I have this thing in my brain that is here every single time I play this game, where I always feel like there's hidden goodies somewhere in this section. And I check it every time I play it. And you know what? I'm pretty sure that there never ever is. But every single time I come back to this game, I don't remember exactly if I'm missing something or not. And so I run my happy ass all the way around for no reason. And guess what's gonna happen? I'm gonna do it again. Because the idea of missing loot makes my gamer brain have a seizure. And if there is a crate hidden somewhere around here, then I'm going to find it and I'm going to make it belong to me. I did already check that backside, so I know there's nothing there. So now we can turn around. Seriously, every time I ever play this game, even in my own time, the amount of times I played this game not on camera, I have thousands of hours in this franchise, and every single time I do it, I check that corner. God forbid I ever miss some loot, you know? So, Gladiator medium armor and another assault rifle. The Banshee, I think, is what we have equipped right now, so we could give that to Ashley Williams for an upgrade when we get back to the Normandy. First things first. You know what I said about the husks, which means we want the Geth to die first, so then we can focus on the husks. They do come from a flank too, so let's get our companions back up here. We want to funnel them if we can. Actually, their AI doesn't look like they want to come up here. He's figured it out, so we're going to knock you back and I'll sabotage. Easy kill while he's on the floor. now we're going to look around for some goodies before we interact with the thing in the middle there. Never want to miss loot, like I said. That's straight through. Scimitar and a pistol. We'll get that when we come back, because there's a wall safe up here that we want to access. As I'm doing this Let's Play, I suppose it's a pretty good time to add too that I will be doing all quests. To my knowledge, all quests. Maybe I missed something, but I think I know how to 100% this game. Again, I've maxed out all the achievements on every platform for this game multiple times. PlayStation, Xbox, and PC. So I think I have a pretty good understanding of where all the quests are. And I'll try and get this as close to 100% as possible. All side quests, well, obviously all main quests. All things that we can dive into and pick at, we'll dive into and pick at. Hurricane shotgun. Already seeming like it's a shotgun heavy run through. Which is good, because I am going to use some companions that are actually quite fond of shotguns at certain points during this Let's Play. So I'm okay with the shotguns, and we already got some Quarian armor too, so that's already lending me towards what kind of party I'll use this game. I do tend to decide what I'm doing in terms of that on the fly, based on what I get. Heatsink is very good. We want that immediately, so here's our Avenger. And then the heatsink is 10% heat absorption, so we can just shoot more before our stuff overheats, which actually they do a great job of explaining that inside the lore of the game too. Why the overheating mechanic is even a thing. That's more damage protection, so we'll stick that on. It's cool looking armor too. A lot of the gear looks quite nice. It's very form-thin, tight. Like, look at the way it fits Ashley and the way it fits Caden. And then the way it fits our character. The armor is all very well designed. But the reason why heat sinks are a thing in this game and not traditional bullets is because there's actually Mass Effect technology in this rifle. And it's basically a clip of metal that shears against itself and overheats, which spits out the thing that is a bullet, but it's actually a superheated fragment of a metal shard. And so obviously the gun gets too hot when it spams it like that, and then that's why you need heat sinks. It's very cool. There's codex to explain all that stuff, which I will be reading. Let's see what's going on with this beacon. Did something weird to Saren when he interacted with it, so...
Normandy, the beacon is secure.
This is amazing. Actual working Prothean technology. Unbelievable.
It wasn't doing anything like that when they dug it up. Something must have activated it.
Roger, Normandy. Standing by.
Doesn't look good.
Shepard!
No, don't touch it! Too dangerous!
Saw fragments of something there. Another sign of our Shepard's personality there too, leap into the defense of a lower ranking soldier. Even though he knew the risks. Caden knew the risks, so Shepard certainly did. And I'm sure the council won't be too pleased that that beacon's destroyed.
We identified the ship that touched down on Eden Prime. The Normandy, a human alliance vessel. It was under the command of Captain Anderson. They managed to save the colony.
And the beacon.
One of the humans may have used it.
It's so cool, the music too.
This human must be eliminated.
Flying off the handle. It is worth noting there too that when he got upset, the ship reacted to it as well with the glowing red lights. The ship seemed to react to his emotions though. That's worth pointing out, I think.
Chakwas, I think he's waking up.
And now Shepard has a hit on his head already. And the literal hit on his head we took from the beacon.
You had us worried there, Shepard.
It's already going quite well, huh?
How are you feeling?
Minor throbbing. Nothing serious. How long was I out?
About 15 hours. Something happened down there with the beacon, I think.
It's my fault. I must have triggered some kind of security field when I approached it. You had to push me out of the way.
It's not on you. You couldn't have known, right? That if you walk at it, it's gonna try and suck you into its mind melding.
You had no way to know what would happen.
Actually, we
You seem
don't
to
even
like
know if
that.
that's what set it off. Unfortunately, we'll never get the chance to find out.
The beacon exploded. A system overload, maybe. The blast knocked you cold. The lieutenant and I carried you back here to the ship.
Yeah, a lot of things in this game are quite campy for the time frame it was made, though, right? Like that little zoom into her face there when she smiled to show she reacted positively to our statement. It's pretty funny when you look at it, how it is, right? I think it's about to happen again too.
I appreciate it.
Sure is.
Physically, you're fine. But I detected some unusual brain activity. Abnormal beta waves. I also noticed an increase in your rapid eye movement. Signs typically associated with intense dreaming.
I saw... I'm not sure what I saw. Death? Destruction? Nothing's really clear.
I better add this to my report. It may... Oh, Captain Anderson.
How's our EXO holding up, Doctor?
Well, all the readings look normal. I'd say the commander's going to be fine.
I
Glad.
hope so.
Shepard, I need to speak with you. In private.
Aye, Captain. I'll be in the mess if you need me.
Sounds like that beacon hit you pretty hard, Commander. Are you sure you're okay?
I don't like soldiers dying under my command.
Jenkins wasn't your fault. You did a good job, Shepard.
Chief Williams isn't part of the Normandy crew.
I figured we could use a soldier like her. She's been reassigned to the Normandy.
She certainly handled herself well in that situation. She came out as the lone survivor from her unit, so I think she's earned that.
Williams is a good soldier. She deserves it.
Lieutenant Alenko agrees with you. That's why I added her to our crew.
Intel dropped the ball, sir. We had no idea what we were walking into down there. That's why things went to hell.
The Geth haven't been outside the Veil in 2 centuries, Commander. Nobody could have predicted this.
Yeah, it still is quite the clusterfuck of intelligence, right? A simple covert pickup ends up into a Geth invasion, where the entire colony almost got nuked off the map.
You said you needed to see me in private, Captain?
I won't lie to you, Shepard. Things look bad. Nihilus is dead. The beacon was destroyed and Geth are invading. The Council's going to want answers.
I didn't do anything wrong, Captain. Hopefully the Council can see that.
I'll stand behind you and your report, Shepard. You're a damned hero in my books. That's not why I'm here. It's Saren, that other Turian. Saren's a Spectre, one of the best, a living legend. But if he's working with the Geth, it means he's gone rogue. A rogue Spectre's trouble. Saren's dangerous, and he hates humans.
Keith David is a hell of a voice actor, which he also voice acted the Arbiter in Halo, if you're a Halo fan. Keith David has a hell of a resume. He's also currently voice acting Commander Zavala in Destiny. He's a hell of a voice actor.
Why?
He thinks we're growing too fast, taking over the galaxy. A lot of aliens think that way. Most of them don't do anything about it. But Saren has allied himself with the Geth. I don't know how, I don't know why. I only know it had something to do with that beacon. You were there just before that beacon self-destructed. Did you see anything? Any clue that might tell us what Saren was after?
I saw something, but I don't know what it was.
Just before I lost consciousness, I had some kind of vision.
A vision? A vision of what?
I saw synthetics. Geth, maybe. Slaughtering people. Butchering them.
We need to report this to the Council, Shepard.
I don't think they're gonna like that, especially one human soldier's opinion. We already know how they view humanity as the new kids on the block and how the galaxy's unsure of us. Now we're gonna roll up after a disaster and say we had a bad dream.
What are we gonna tell them? I had a bad dream?
We don't know what information was stored in that beacon. Lost Prothean technology? Blueprints for some ancient weapon of mass destruction? Whatever it was. Saren took it. But I know Saren. I know his reputation is politics. He believes humans are a blight on the galaxy. This attack was an act of war. He has the secrets from the beacon. He has an army of Geth at his command, and he won't stop until he's wiped humanity from the face of the galaxy.
It's interesting that Saren was able to hit that beacon without it blowing up in his face, but when we touched it, it overloaded. Maybe because it was used twice, or maybe he has something that let him meld with that more smoothly, because it didn't explode like that when he touched it.
I'll find some way to take him down.
It's not that easy. He's a Spectre. He can go anywhere, do almost anything. That's why we need the Council on our side.
Well, according to Jenkins, the Council polices their own Spectres, so surely they're gonna investigate this, right, and do something about it. Surely, one of their agents is there when the whole place blows to smithereens.
We prove Saren's gone rogue, and the Council will revoke his Spectre status.
I'll contact the ambassador.
And without his Spectre status, we
see
can
if
get
he
some.
Can get us an audience with the Council. He'll want to see us as soon as we reach the Citadel. We should be getting close. Head up to the bridge and tell Joker to bring us into dock.
Aye, aye. And that's going to sit us pretty right back on the Normandy. And I don't think we'll have any squad points here. We didn't level up, but it is going to be a good opportunity to explore the Normandy and talk to some of the crew and get to know the cast. So that's what I'm going to be doing for the rest of this episode. I'm going to get to know the cast and crew here. We've only been going for around 16 minutes, so we got plenty of time. It's important to chit-chat to everybody, right? I guess we can start with Ash.
I'm glad you're okay, Commander. The crew could use some good news after what happened to Jenkins.
Jenkins was a valuable part of this crew.
Part of me feels guilty over what happened. If Jenkins was still alive, I might not be here.
And you deserve your place here. Hell of a soldier, like I said, the sole survivor out of an entire unit at a surprise Geth invasion. I think she should not feel very insecure about being here on this team.
You're a good soldier, Williams. You belong on the Normandy.
Thanks, Commander. That means a lot from you. I've never met anyone who was awarded the Star of Terra.
Things were pretty rough down there. Are you okay?
I've seen friends die before. Comes with being a Marine. But to see my whole unit wiped out, and you never get used to seeing dead civilians. But things would have been a lot worse if you hadn't shown up.
Not like you didn't carry your weight.
We couldn't have done it without you, Williams.
Thanks, Commander. I have to admit, I was a little worried about being assigned to the Normandy. It's nice when someone makes you feel welcome.
I think you're gonna fit in here just fine, Williams.
Thanks, Commander.
I think you were built to be a part of this.
Joker's waiting for you on the bridge, Commander.
Got a few conversations to have first. We also have a locker here, which we can open for free loot in between missions. This will just spawn some loot in here every now and then. So every time you're back on the Normandy after a main mission, it's definitely worth checking that out.
Yes, Commander? Is there something you need?
How did you end up serving on an Alliance ship?
I enlisted right out of med school. Earth always seemed boring to me. Too safe, too secure. I figured the colonies were teeming with exotic adventure. I wanted to travel the stars, tending the wounds of tough soldiers with piercing eyes and sensitive souls. Turns out military life isn't quite as romantic as I'd imagined. But humanity needs the Alliance if we want to keep expanding through the Traverse, and the Alliance always needs good doctors. So I stayed on to do my part.
And every single person on this ship has a very unique personality that is very worth digging into. And again, it's all written so well. They have their own quirks, their own opinions, their own things that they hold dear, and Chakwas is no exception to that. She's an icon.
Ever think you made the wrong choice?
Sometimes I think about opening a private practice back on Earth. Or maybe taking a position at one of the new med centers out in the colonies. But there's something special about working on soldiers. If I left the Alliance now, I'd feel like I was abandoning them.
And like she said, right? Humanity will always need the Alliance, and the Alliance will always need doctors. She's doing her part too. She might not be on the front line dodging bullets, although, I mean, on the Normandy and the things the Normandy are going to get up to, there is not much difference there, but she keeps us fit and ready to spit bullets at people, which is just as important as us spitting the bullets.
What do you know about Captain Anderson?
I've served with him for a few tours now. He knows when to let things slide and when to crack the whip. The crew knows he's seen pretty much anything they'll ever run into. And he cares about the people under his command.
Which is very important for a commander.
How well do you know the lieutenant?
I'd never worked with him before this mission. But he has an impressive service record, over a dozen special commendations. Tends to keep to himself, though. Maybe because of the headaches. It's not easy being an L2.
And now we get to dip into Biotics a little bit. He's an L2, right? And he gets headaches, so let's dig into that.
What does that have to do with it?
Well, most Biotics now use the L3 implants. Lieutenant Alenko was wired with the old L2 configuration. Sometimes there are complications.
What kind of complications?
Severe mental disabilities, insanity, crippling physical pain. There's a long list of horrific side effects. Caden's lucky. He just gets migraines.
And so basically, we'll get into more of the biotic thing when we talk to Caden, because he'll explain how he became a biotic and things, but essentially they get this innate ability to affect matter around them, right? Dark matter is where the biotic abilities come from. And we wired them with implants in their head, kind of like Neuralink, which enables them to tap into those abilities and use them more strongly. But there is a long list of side effects right there, right? Like severe mental disabilities, insanity, crippling physical pain. He's lucky that he just gets migraines. And if anybody has ever had a migraine watching this, you know there is no such thing as just a migraine. That sucks. So he's lucky, and he's an L2, and it's on L3 now. So yeah, I can only imagine what the L1s had to deal with. That'll be about it for all that now.
I should go.
Goodbye, Commander.
But we might be able to chit-chat to Caden a little bit too. Let's see if there's any codex here on the cryopods. Things do spawn in later in the game as well, so it is always worth checking around the ship. Even if you don't find it the first time, you might find it the second time.
Glad to see you're okay, Commander.
Hey, you too. Of course, I have my favorites out of all the companions, but they're all good. They're all good in their own way.
Tell him to bring the Normandy into
In terms of tier listing, like Caden's a little dry, but he's still cool. He's not the most interesting of all of them, but he's just a good soldier and a pretty good friend too. Then you have Ash too. She's also part of the human staff of the Normandy, but they all have their own little quirks that we'll get to explore in way more detail as we progress. I'll get into my favorite and the who's who when we start meeting more people. Down here is an important thing to check because of this guy, but we'll talk to him here in a second. I just want to do a quick swing for Codex. Get the Mako Codex. Get XP for Codex when you find it too, so that's another reason. Over here, you can equip your companions without having to have them in your party. You just go to the lockers, and then you'll be able to outfit them like that. Let's talk to our requisition officer.
Hey, Commander. Looking for some extra supplies before you head out?
What have you got?
Whatever you want. Armor, weapons, mods. It's not standard Alliance issue, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Well, as long as you don't mind paying for it.
Why should I pay you for my weapons and armor?
My stuff doesn't come from the Alliance.
The spirit of commerce, my friend.
And it's not cheap. Hell, the licenses alone have set me back more than I'd like. But no licenses, no goods. Without the goods, I'm out of a job.
Yeah, he's our local requisition officer, and like he said, not being Alliance standard is not necessarily a bad thing, because standardization has its benefits, but it also has its setbacks. It might not necessarily be the strongest issue weapons and armor, because they can't afford to mass manufacture. This guy's gonna have that special stock.
What are licenses? Why do you need them?
Manufacturers sell licenses. Each license allows me to buy and sell a certain brand of products. I already have several basic ones, but you'll need to buy more if you want me to bring in different brands. Many of the best licenses are hard to get, but they're well worth the cost if you can find them.
What do the different manufacturers offer?
There are too many for me to keep track of, but each license will explain what it's good for.
And that is our big gameplay hint. Keep an eye in vendor stocks for licenses, because you need them. Not only did they come important for side quests way later in the franchise, they also just expand the stock you can buy. There's some very important ones.
How often will you get new items?
Well, that depends on how many licenses you've purchased, but I'll rotate items on a regular basis regardless. And anytime we land someplace with a big enough port, I'll buy, sell, and trade whatever I can. Check back often. I need to move items quickly, so only the most basic items will be stocked consistently.
So essentially the way that works is every time you dock in a major hub for a main quest, his inventory will reset. So worth checking every time you go to the Citadel, every time you go to a main location.
Let's see what you've got.
We'll check his inventory right now, because we're going to be a little strapped for cash. We won't be buying anything, of course. But what we will be doing is selling things. So that's weapon force. We don't need that. We'll keep the heavy armor because we don't have any alternatives yet. Probably won't be sniping myself, and I doubt I'll be using anybody else to snipe. So we won't need that. Medium armor onyx is what we dropped. Scimitar +1. I don't think we'll need multiple, so we'll sell that. Get the assault rifles gone. Won't need much human light armor, and we'll get these gone too, because eventually it'll be just an open season on all this stuff. We won't need to worry too much about this. Phasic rounds I'm not a fan of. Shield battery could be interesting. You know what? Just plus 40 shields, we can sell that. Combat Sensor 1 isn't very useful either. We'll keep those 3 shotguns just to see which one we give. We're going to keep the Quarian armor. We'll keep the AP rounds too, because that's just good for everybody. And then down here, what we're going to do, the only thing I am going to buy here from all of this, which is only 196, we're going to get the grenade upgrade. So it'll give us 1 extra grenade. I don't think we'll need Metagel, because we're not going to be taking much damage, at least not for a while, but I do want the extra grenade ammo. I like having max grenade abilities for some certain quests later in the game. And here is the core for the Normandy, and some codexes. Element 0 is the element that Biotics can do. It's an element in the world that's kind of like dark matter, basically, but what's powering that engine is the same power that Biotics have access to.
Shame about Jenkins, Commander.
Indeed. And that takes care of the bottom bunk of the Normandy, so now we just need to head back up, and we'll only really have Presley to talk to. And a couple codexes to pick up along the way, too. There's a codex in the comm room, I believe, and a navigation map next to Presley. But that'll be it for our conversations, really. Wrapping up here in a second. Just gotta get my codex on, and I don't think we can talk to Presley yet either. I think he'll just have a radial dialogue when we click on him. I don't think it'll put us into a conversation. Here's the comm link. I'm gonna read these codexes on camera too, so it's good to pick those up while we dive into some stuff. Another cool thing about the codex in this game too is it's not all me reading. The major codexes, the developers of Mass Effect actually did an amazing thing that I also wish more studios would do, and they read the codex for you. I'll give you an example of that right now, actually. So we'll go to codex. Primaries are the only ones that are voice acted. The secondary ones are not voice acted. But if we go to, let's pick an interesting one for the example. We'll do technology. Open this up.
Biotics is the ability of rare individuals to manipulate dark energy and create mass effect fields through the use of electrical impulses from the brain. Intense training and surgically implanted amplifiers are necessary for a biotic to produce mass effect fields powerful enough for practical use. The relative strength of biotic abilities varies greatly among species and with each individual. There are 3 branches of biotics. Telekinesis uses mass-lowering fields to levitate or impel objects. Mass-raising kinetic fields are used to block or pin objects. Spatial distortion uses rapidly shifting mass fields to shred objects. Most organic species are capable of developing biotic abilities, though there are risks involved. Biotics are the result of an in utero exposure to element 0. This usually causes fatal cancers in the victim, but in rare cases, it coalesces into nodules within the fetus's developing nervous system.
And that is the explanation of biotics, and you see right there that biotics are the result of in utero exposure to element 0. That is how biotics are created. If you're not born with the natural ability, you have to create them. And obviously humans aren't born with the natural ability to be a biotic. That can only be done through experimentation. And so most of the time, it causes fatal cancers that just outright kills the child. But in some cases, it develops their nervous system into biotics. So Caden likely would have almost died as a child, and odds are he would have, but he was one of the, well, lucky or unlucky, I suppose it depends how you see that, people that actually got abilities from it rather than just being killed outright. But that's a cool thing about those codexes, is it'll read the major ones for you. And I'll be mixing up the videos with major codexes and codexes that I have to read myself, and I probably won't do as good of a job as the narrator that does, but I'll try my best. Anyways, now that we've chit-chatted to everybody and we've grabbed the relevant codexes, that is going to be a perfect spot to wrap this one on up. So thank you for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a like and a comment. If you want to support the cause and help improve the channel, please check out those links in the description below. Otherwise, stay tuned and I'll see you soon with more Mass Effect. Take care, everybody. Have a good day. Peace.